Today we're going to be answering the question, what is competitive Pokemon? Competitive Pokemon is basically being the best at Pokemon you can possibly ever be. It's getting down to the nitty-gritty and the numbers and the formulas and the situations and all of that and excelling. Now we're going to be discussing competitive terminology. These are words and other terms that are used in competitive Pokemon that you might not understand quite yet. We've got quite a few terms to cover right now. The first thing I'm going to cover is types of Pokemon. These are Pokemon classified depending on what role they can play in competitive Pokemon, aside from, this is a fire type, or this is a water type. No. These are Pokemon classified by their roles. Suicune is a more defensive Pokemon, so it would be called a wall. Alakazam excels in speed and special attack, so it would be a special sweeper. The idea is to completely take out your opponent's team once you've got, all of the conditions set up for the sweeper to come in. Revenge killers are things that come in after a Pokemon dies that can just do a large amount of damage really quickly to whatever killed that last Pokemon. Clerics, which generally heal the team. They have moves like Wish and Aromatherapy to cure statuses and to heal the HP of the rest of the members. Next thing I'm going to talk about is Stab. What is Stab? Stab is an acronym for Same Type Attack Bonus. Basically, like if a water Pokemon were to use a water attack, it does more damage than if a fire Pokemon were to use that same attack. EVs and IVs. You can find a list of what all the EVs and IVs do if you go to poketheory.com/eviv.html. Entry hazards, basically what happens when you set up entry hazards like Spikes or Stealth Rock. When your opponent switches that Pokemon out and sends a new one in, the new one will be hurt by whatever hazards were set out. So let's say Stealth Rock, you can find a guide to entry hazards on the Poketheory website. But say your opponent sends out a Volcarona. Now, if you don't have any entry hazards set up, it's going to come in at full health. But if you've got Stealth Rock up, it's going to come in with much less health. There are quite a few different types of status conditions. You can also find a guide to all of this on the Poketheory website. Status conditions are things that can be used to inhibit your opponent. Sleep causes the opponent's Pokemon to be inactive for a couple turns. Now, in Generation 5, all of the sleep terms are completely random, so you never know anymore. Back in Generation 4, if you used Rest, it was only 2 turns, and after that, it was completely random. But in Generation 5, even if you do use Rest, the amount of turns it takes before you wake up are completely random. We've got Paralysis, which cuts your speed in half, and sometimes you won't be able to make an attack. You'll be fully paralyzed. The next is Freeze. Freeze is a very, very bad status condition, but it's so hard to get off. Freeze causes your opponent's Pokemon to not do anything for a few turns, but it only has like a 10 or 25% chance of thawing out. The only way to get rid of Freeze is to have a berry that would cure a status condition, or to use a fire type move. We've got Poison, which slowly does damage over time. We've got Badly Poison, which does increasing amounts of damage over time. We've also got Burn, which cuts your attack power in half and does a set amount of damage each turn. There are a few pseudo status conditions. I won't get into those right here. You can, like I said, you can find them on the Poketheory website, but the pseudo status conditions are pretty badass as well, so you should look into those. The last thing I'm going to talk about as far as terminology goes is hacks. Hacks is a big portion of Pokemon. Hacks can be anywhere from flinching to, getting fully paralyzed to missing a low accuracy move. It is completely random. A way you can abuse hacks is to use a Jirachi with Thunder Wave and Iron Head, because Jirachi has an ability called Serene Grace, which means added effects of moves will happen more often than normal. So Iron Head has a chance for flinching, so you use Thunder Wave to paralyze your opponent. Then keep using Iron Head, and that will increase your chances of keeping your opponent unable to move. Now we're going to be discussing how to choose Pokemon for your team. You're not going to want a team full of walls, even though that seems like the best team to go with. And you're also not going to want a team full of sweepers, because, you know, sweepers can be pretty frail sometimes, and if you get something fast enough that hits hard enough, your entire team's gone. Always should take a look at your Pokemon's base stats before you decide on placing a role for them. Pokemon such as Ninjask have one set role that they can fill. Other Pokemon such as Reuniclus can fill multiple roles. So you always want to look at what you have versus what you need and make a decision based on that. Now we're going to cover how to test your team. There are currently a couple different battle simulators available to the public, the best of which is definitely Pokemon Online. So just fill out your team's information in Pokemon Online and then click on a server to get started. From there you'll want to click Find Battle, and you will be paired up with someone and you'll get to battle that way. Now before you say anything, we do have our own Pokemon Online server where people can go and play Pokemon with other Poketheory viewers. We currently have 2 tier lists set up. We have Standard and we have Limited. Anything Goes is also one of our tiers, but you'll probably want to stay away from that because pretty much anything can happen and anything goes. There are no bans, so everything is free for you to use. Standard is the tier that will be used for most, if not all, of our tournaments. And then the limited format is for people who want to use Pokemon that aren't used as often. Some of the more powerful Pokemon are banned from limited. So definitely check out Pokemon Online. I'll put a link in the description. Definitely go to our server. And definitely check out the website because there's a lot more information on the web than there are on these videos. I'm just covering the base.
So yeah, that about covers it for our introduction to competitive Pokemon. If you want to know more, like I said, just always go to the website, www.poketheory.com, and we'll be happy to assist you on the forums if you want to join those, or if you have any questions, you can post them in the comments below and I'll answer them as soon as I can. So peace out, guys. Take care.
And that about covers it for this episode. If you have any questions, you can always, join the website forum, www.poketheory.com/forum. You can join up there and ask any questions, and I'll be happy to answer you there. If you don't want to do that, you can always post a question in the comments below, and I will get to them as soon as possible. So yeah, that about covers it. Peace out, guys. Take care.